The Buckeyes are looking to put the final touches on their top 2024 recruiting class. And in this video, we got intel on the top remaining targets on the Ohio State recruiting board. I'm going to bring on Letterman Row insider Matt Parker to break it all down. But first, Ohio State fans, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. It's a crazy run up to signing day. We want you to be a part of it. So hit subscribe for me, please. Okay. Let's bring on Matt Parker from Letterman Row. Now, we're going to start with two important official visitors that were on campus over the weekend. First, defensive lineman Carlin Jones, fresh off his decommitment from Nebraska. Now, he's planning maybe a potential USC visit, but what are you hearing about Ohio State and Carlin Jones coming out of this official?
I really like Ohio State's position going into the visit. And if anything, I feel just as good, maybe even a little better than after the visit. Ohio State had the opportunity to really sit down with Carlin Jones, defensive line coach Larry Johnson, broke down his senior tape, broke down what his role would be in Ohio State's defense with defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. Ohio State likes Carlin Jones at that 3 tech, but he's athletic enough to go to the outside if need be. And Ohio State has already started bowl prep for the Cotton Bowl, so Carlin Jones had to watch how practice works and things like that. And it's worth noting that Carlin Jones had 2 meetings with head coach Ryan Day, even though Ryan Day was in New York City for the Heisman ceremony on Sunday. Jones met with Day on Friday and then again on Sunday. And just the cultural aspect of Ohio State is something that is really standing out to Carlin Jones. Now, Josh, the big thing here is that I reported previously on Letterman Row that going into the visit, Carlin Jones was thinking about more of a February decision, signing in February so he can extend this recruiting process ever since he decommitted from Nebraska. However, he has told me after this Ohio State visit that he is probably leaning toward a December 20th decision. So that's pretty telling for Ohio State fans, in my opinion.
Yeah, cutting a month off of his recruitment. Now, heading into the visit, or heading off of his decommitment from Nebraska about 2 weeks ago, I considered Ohio State not only be a favorite, but maybe this is a slam dunk recruitment. But then last week, we saw Alabama and Auburn enter the picture. So where do things stand now with Jones and his future plans? Because like you said, if he's going to decide here in like 8 or 9 days, how much time does he have left to visit these schools?
Well, we do know that Jones is going to take an official visit to USC this coming weekend, December 15th through the 17th. And then from there, that's where this February or December decision becomes crucial. I think you could expect to see maybe some in-home visits by Alabama and Auburn if they are truly going to enter the picture. However, the longevity of Ohio State in this recruitment is really what stands out to me. Ohio State offered Jones in October before he had decommitted from Nebraska, and that longevity is really starting to put a stranglehold on this recruitment. We'll see how the USC visit goes at the end of this week, but from here on out, I still like where the Buckeyes sit. I have already placed a prediction into the On3 recruiting prediction machine before Jones's visit to Ohio State. And so now we just have to ride the wave and see where it goes from here. But I like where Ohio State stands, even with Alabama and Auburn in the mix.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Jones decommitted from Nebraska because of Ohio State, but then of course things got a little complicated with more teams entering the picture once he did so. Now the Buckeyes just got to close, so we'll see what happens down the stretch here. All right, rivalry season is here, and you better have your tickets. There's still some great games left in the season, but you know what's not great? Finding last-minute tickets. Finding tickets before a game can be a nightmare. Do not let this be the way that your season ends. That's why I'm here to tell you about Game Time. It's the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the big-time matchups. Game Time will get you to this year's biggest college football games with elite deals on last-minute tickets and the best price guarantee. Don't stress over getting into your favorite team's biggest rivalry game of the year. There's only so many big games, and you need to get these tickets at the best prices. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Game Time has tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It is the place to find last-minute tickets. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets on all sports and even concert events. So here's what we're going to do. Snag the tickets without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account and use code Inside Scoop to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use code Inside Scoop for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's talk about the other official visitor on campus, and that was Minnesota four-star safety commit Coy Parrish. He took a much anticipated official visit over the weekend. Buckeyes have been putting a little pressure on the Minnesota commitment. What are the chances of him flipping to Ohio State coming out of this official?
Well, I'm not ready to put a pick into the On3 recruiting prediction machine just yet, but I do really like where the Buckeyes stand with Coy Parrish. His official visit was a little bit funky in terms of the scheduling. He had a basketball game Friday night, so he didn't get into Columbus until early Saturday morning, left late Sunday night. And that may not seem like a lot of time, but the way that these recruiting departments can cram a lot of information into a short amount of time is pretty impressive. And Ohio State is no exception to that. Once again, it was very similar to Jones's official visit, where got to watch practice, sat in meetings, broke down film, see how Coy would fit into the Ohio State secondary, which is a much improved secondary in year 2 of the Jim Knowles system. And the thing that sources are telling me that Coy really liked about this Ohio State visit was just seeing how aggressive he can be if he decides to flip to Ohio State. One of the things that Parrish is looking for in his recruitment, even though he is committed to the Gophers, one of the things that he is looking for should he flip is to play for a winning football program, to play for a winning football team. And that's why Ohio State is really in the mix with coming off another 11-1 season. And that's why we're seeing another official visit on Coy's calendar to Florida State at the end of this week.
How big of a threat do you think Florida State is in this recruitment? Now, I know that they've been on him for several weeks, but he's never been to Florida State before. This will be his first and only visit. So it does come, though, 3 days before the early signing day. How big of a threat is FSU?
I think as we sit here recording this, Florida State, I mean, you have to take Florida State seriously, especially with how successful they have been this year. ACC champs, secondary has looked pretty impressive. But right now, I still like where Ohio State stands from a cultural aspect, player development, and everything like that. I take Florida State seriously, but I like where Ohio State stands more so.
Okay, we'll see what happens coming out of the A. Maybe Ohio State can get him to shut it down and not take that Florida State visit. We'll see what happens there, but he is still committed to Minnesota, so this thing's a little complicated. Now, talking about another complicated recruitment, that's four-star Gator defensive lineman Amaris Williams. His season is over. They lost in the state finals over the weekend, so now he has a week to turn his attention to recruiting. Now, he's potentially visiting Auburn this weekend. Should Ohio State still be considered the favorite here if Amaris Williams is to flip from Florida?
I think you're going to have to put Ohio State as a slight favorite, just the slightest favorite as humanly possible, Josh. And that's really because, again, just the longevity in which Ohio State has been involved with Amaris Williams. They've been on him since September when he was seemingly locked in with Florida. Ohio State has been on him since September. He's been on campus twice. One of them was for an official visit. The other was an unofficial visit. And any time that you can stack 2 game day visits, I think that's pretty important. However, he's becoming a very important name down the stretch here as we're 9 days away from the early signing period opening up on December 20th. And if he does make that Auburn visit, I do think that's going to be some cause for concern. And then you also have programs like Georgia in the mix. You could expect, I don't know, maybe in Alabama, maybe to get in the mix. And any team that really needs a very solid defensive end type of player. And then, of course, Florida is going to fight like tooth and nail to make sure that Williams stays in the class with as many guys are leaving the Gators 2024 class. So I think this is going to be Ohio State's going to have to weather the storm for these next few days to see if they can pull off the flip of 4-star defensive end Amaris Williams.
Yeah, and weathering the storm is kind of a common theme, especially when it comes to wide receiver commit Jeremiah Smith, the number 1 wide receiver in the country. He was at Florida State over the weekend. So, Matt, what will Ohio State's strategy be down the stretch when it comes to Jeremiah Smith? Because we're only about 8 or 9 days away from his signing.
Ohio State is going to, like they've been doing this entire time, is just going to be playing the long game. It feels kind of weird to say that Ohio State is going to be in the shadows for one of its own committed prospects, but that's exactly what's happening here, Josh. Ryan Day and Brian Hartline, Ohio State's head coach and offensive coordinator, respectfully, are going to be making their in-home visit with Jeremiah Smith as late as possible in this contact period, which does end Sunday, sometime on Sunday. Expect that in-home visit to be a pretty lengthy conversation. I think Ohio State should be getting some NFL decisions, NFL announcements, some Cotton Bowl opt-outs maybe this week, and that's going to create a clearer picture for what Jeremiah Smith's role will look like in the 2024 Ohio State offense. A lot of people are expecting Marvin Harrison Jr. to head to the NFL. The same could be said for Emeka Ibuka. Xavier Johnson will be gone. Julian Fleming is in the transfer portal. So there is a very wide opportunity for Jeremiah Smith to sign his letter of intent and early enroll at Ohio State and make some noise in spring ball.
All right, so we got a lot of Miami fans watching, a lot of FSU fans watching, a lot of Gator fans watching right now. So just got to ask you, is the confidence still high in Columbus that they signed Jeremiah Smith?
Absolutely, Josh. Absolutely. With those opportunities that I just laid out for everyone, I'm pretty sure that there are a few stores down in Florida that sell Ohio State gear, knowing how many Buckeyes are across the country. So I think fans of Jeremiah Smith, a college allegiance to the side, might want to buy some scarlet and gray here.
All right, Ohio State fans, there you have it. Let me know, comment section below, how do the Buckeyes finish this cycle? Are you excited for signing day? Let me know. Matt Parker from Letterman Row, thank you for taking time to drop by the Inside Scoop today.
Thanks for having me, Josh. Always appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that content, be sure to subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. We have a new page dedicated only to recruiting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now.